Good morning. Welcome everyone to VIP Pre-Market Prep. Got a few stocks to cover, but not too much. Really, the story of the day is FOMC meeting at 2 o'clock, followed by the press conference at 2:30. You can see SPY QQQ bouncing going up into this meeting. You know where I stand and where our community really stands with the weekly meetup we had on Monday night. Could we see a bounce? Yeah, obviously we could. Could we see a bear market rally? Anything's possible. But I remain fundamentally bearish, and I believe S&P 500 will eventually test 350. It could happen either in a matter of days or it could take a few months. You never know what path it takes there to get to that 200-week moving average. So use caution if you're trying to trade that. Although we'd love to sometimes think things should go down in a straight line to your targets, they don't usually do that. So a couple things I want to cover. Bitcoin last night went to 20,000 this morning, early in the middle of the night. Bounced right off of 20,000. I don't have the Bitcoin chart available here on my phone, but I've been calling for 18,000 as the bottom. Now, maybe 20,000 will be the bottom. I don't want to say the bottom as a major support. Maybe 20,000 will be that major support because of psychological reasons. Nice whole number, a couple thousand above that 18,000 support. As a reminder, 18,000 was the initial major resistance in December 2017 and also the breakout level in December 2020. And that's why that's such an important level. And you can see here what that's doing to, well, this morning it stabilized, but MicroStrategy, MSTR, everyone is aware of what's going on with that and the possible margin calls it can get with Bitcoin under 21,000. So that's an interesting story to watch there. I'm monitoring UVXY in relation to possible volatility we'll get with this FOMC this week. Man, UNG was crazy yesterday. I can't say I totally understand the price action. There was some like LNG port or something or production facility that's supposed to reopen on a delayed schedule, and it just died. So I don't know what's going on there, but that was interesting. Caught my eye to look at. So SEAC, so he said, hey, that trade didn't work out. But yesterday morning, we warned, do not just dump this, panic sell this into the pre-market. This has a fundamental value of at least 45 cents, possibly much more. And we're right about the price action. It went up throughout the day. I did end up selling all my shares throughout the day. I sold my highest level I sold at was about 50. The community actually bought the open and sold the close, and it was his best trade of the year. So it pays to know what you're holding, what the fundamentals are. We talked about the risk reward of this, that it had limited downside. Unfortunately, still overall, it was a big loss for me, especially because I went overweight right after the earnings report because of a combination of the earnings report and the Instagram post by Ryan Kavanaugh, which, by the way, was the correct interpretation. Ryan Kavanaugh put up that post. So the ILLR countdown is on and is sticking with that storyline that countdown is on. So that's very interesting. Well, because what I didn't know yesterday when we had the pre-market prep was at the same time that SEAC issued the press release that the deal is off, Schiller put out a press release that they're proceeding with the ticker symbol ILLR, but via a direct IPO with a timeline of like September or something like that, just in a few months. So that is very interesting to me that Ryan Kavanaugh was able to post that on Instagram. The countdown is on for ILLR while having the SEAC ticker symbol, SEAC, as their merger partner right up on his profile page. And at the time, he probably knew that the countdown was on because they're going the IPO route. So I actually think we interpreted the nugget correctly, but unfortunately there was some misinformation there that caused us to have a loss. So that's something interesting we may be looking at. Okay, anyway, TWI, Titan International. I called this, was it Friday, Monday in after hours? They had some news out, basically upping guidance. I got in at 1688. I gave that guys to you again yesterday morning, and it was straight up line yesterday. This is a stock. It's like at the 17 level. It's trading like 5 adjusted PE, basically a 5 not a PE, but a EBITDA. If you look at their EBITDA multiple, is around 5. What's guided for this year? Their forward EBITDA multiple for this year was around 5 at $17. So does that deserve like a 10 multiple in this environment? Maybe. Can this go to the 30s? Maybe. I have it in my IRA, and I'm not tempted to really sell it right now. That was a good pickup. I already had it. I added more at 1688, so I'm glad I picked that up. TWI. Now, I want to mention UUUU. Now, normally on this morning show, we only call out stocks that have like a catalyst. And sometimes that could be counterproductive because, it works great. Sometimes the catalyst comes in at technical support levels, and those are the best situations, right? You talk about the 4 pillars. You have the technicals on your side because you're at a technical support level. But oftentimes when the catalyst comes, it's not at a technical support. The price is already elevated. So, you know what? I thought maybe we should keep track of stocks that have good catalysts and fundamentals, but maybe are hitting technical support levels with no news around it for a possible time to pick up. So that's why I want to mention UUUU, because this had obviously great fundamentals long term, great sentiment long term. It had the catalyst about a week ago that the U.S. government wanted to buy uranium, several $billion of domestic uranium, and UUU is a domestic uranium company. You see it popped up there to from like 650 to 750, and it pulled back. And now I'm thinking maybe it's time. It's probably, who knows if it's the bottom, but better to buy now maybe than at 750. So that's something I may be adding to today. I already have a position. I may be averaging down here on UUUU. Hard ticker symbol to say, but check out all the other uranium charts. There may be other deals that are acting the same way. Let's check CCJ. Yeah, also down, basically the same chart. So all the uranium stocks pulled back in the same kind of fashion. So take your pick, whatever uranium stock you like. Perhaps it's time to be stepping back into it. Although, honestly, it looks like the technicals have a little bit more downside with the MACD just flipping and the RSI not yet at the oversold territories. Oh, it could go lower, but it's hard to catch the bottom. So that's why I wanted to bring up UUUU. Kodak I want to bring up because I had a spectacular day yesterday on very heavy volume. This is still one of my largest positions. I haven't talked about it much because there hasn't been much to talk about. But yesterday we have some price action here, which really diverged from the general market, diverged from RK. Although RK I think was slightly up yesterday, but this was not a play on RK or risk assets in general. Something is going on here. I scoured social media, nothing I could find. No retail talking about this. There's essentially no volume. Actually, this morning there's a little bit of volume, 5,000 shares, but early this there was nothing, like maybe less than 100 shares all after hours. So that tells me, and look, that this volume is not retail, and there may be something substantive behind why these buyers are buying. And I can tell you, looking at level 2 yesterday, they were massive, massive orders, like on the bid, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 share blocks bidding this up yesterday. So, and it was on heavy volume. You can see there. So maybe something's up. You got overhead resistance here at 517 and 561. I'm not buying more. I have a big position, but this is something to watch in case it does kind of fly. Maybe you can take some profits, or let's watch the news feed. Let's watch the SEC filings. Something may be happening with Kodak. And we have the Kodak research group that we collaborate on together with the community. Perhaps we should be looking again at the boards, the job boards, anything on LinkedIn, any clues as to what might be going on. We already know the thesis, right? They're the big exciting areas they're moving into, including EV batteries and transparent antennas. So there's a lot of exciting areas they're going into. Could that be one of the reasons? Could it be a fund simply found it and they're loading up? It could be. So we will see what happens with Kodak. Monitoring DRIO at this point. We're waiting for the catalyst. I did talk to Erez after the filing came out for the $50 million non-dilutive credit facility to ask some questions. I got answered those questions, made me feel confident that things are on track. I left the notes there for VIPs in the VIP research room. So although technically I can tell you have a MACD flip here, you have a magnet potentially at the 50 DMA at like 6. And if markets do crash, who knows? It could break the 50 DMA and go lower, right? So every stock is going to be basically impacted by the major indices. But I believe the big, huge catalyst we're waiting for will still come in the near future, and I believe that will take out the highs, take the stock over that 770 level, and we'll see how high it goes after that. So I am not wavering on DRIO. A couple other names to possibly look at if you're interested. Revlon, I shorted it a little bit intraday with puts, made a little bit of money. It was hard; those puts weren't moving. It would have been better just to short it or get in them. Although it wasn't even an in the money put, man, that was crazy. Didn't make a ton of money, but I made money. All right. In any case, this is one Revlon, which I may be looking at again as a possible short, as it's up again this morning. So there was a report out earlier this week. Was it the Wall Street Journal? Some big financial financial media company. I'm trying to look for it down here. But you can take a look at the newsfeed. Oh, here it goes. Revlon, this is from Wall Street Journal. Yeah. Wall Street Journal reporting that the company's been struggling for years with debt and stiff competition, and that they're in restructuring negotiations with lenders, and the company could file for bankruptcy protection this week. I don't know about you, but a lot of times these rumors turn out to be true. Yeah, so you can see the crazy price action there, and who knows? You got to pick your spots. If you're going to short it, do it on a big spike or something like that. My recommendation. All right. So Hertz had news, $2 billion buyback. Now, this one was a really popular stock that did. I think they were on the brink of bankruptcy, and then COVID brought them out of it. I don't know if that chart, was this a split or what? Was that a real move from 1 to 25? I don't think so. I think that was probably a split that's not accounted for correctly in my chart. But in any case, it did have a huge move because COVID saved it from the impending bankruptcy, or even I think they were in bankruptcy at the time. And now they have a $2 billion buyback. That's an interesting one to monitor. I don't know, probably not going to play it, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to play this out on the FinTwit world, and you can go ahead and monitor that and do whatever you'd like with Hertz. Now, CYRN kind of pulled back to a support level, sort of. I was hoping it would keep the 50 DMA. I still own this, unfortunately. I did sell some in the 290s, but clearly not enough. It was like 10 or 15%. I was hoping this would keep having some continuation much higher. This is a special situation stock, which just sold an asset for like over half of its market cap value. And they're in a pretty hot spot, like cyber sector. So I'm thinking maybe the worst case is the 20 DMA support here at 20. I think you have fundamentals on your side, and I think you have a sentiment tailwind with the sector they're in. So that's something I have not sold except for that, and we'll see what happens with CYRN. Another one I'm looking at is, courtesy of Julian, is XELB, another kind of special situation stock with a partial asset sale, selling 75% of one of their brands for like $46 million in cash. Now they have debt, so it's a little more complicated. Market cap's 27 million. So on the surface, it looks like a great deal, but you got to look up their debt. But people who I trust, who know this better than me and the balance sheet better than me, tell me it's still, after this deal, very, very cheap, and it could go much higher. So I do have a small position, and maybe I'll pick up some more and try to sell the pops. Man, this is a hard environment to swing trade. I got to learn to sell the pops. I haven't really been doing a great job of that. I get pretty dedicated to my positions with long-term outlooks. So it's hard for a swing trader like me in this environment. If you're more tactical and more of a day trader or something like that, you might be doing better. But in any case, that's the story with XELB. And CFVI, I did get into this last week. Down on it now, and we'll see what happens. Not much downside, $10, and we know DWAC is shit in the bed because that deal may not close. And that's all I've got. Let's look at the news feed to see if there's anything we missed here in the last 20 minutes. CYAN, by the way, is a microcap agriculture stock. You can check out CYIN with a new product launch. And INVE had a buy rating maintaining. They lowered their price target to 20. I don't know what it was before, but that's like a double from here. I own INVE. All right, so that's all we got today. 4:30 p.m. We will be jumping on Zoom for our VIPs, just to open chat for whoever shows up. Talk about whatever you'd like. All right, have a great day, everyone. Thank you very much.